From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Worldwide outpouring of support for the families of the Orlando victims continues. We bring you the latest details on the tragic shooting.
Plus, as investigators examine the shooter's links to ISIS, we hear from local Muslims about the tragedy and how it reflects on their faith.
And in the wake of the worst mass shooting in U.S. history, what you can do to help victims across the country.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Christina Tatro.
And I'm Joey Carrera. Thanks for joining us. After the tragic shooting in Orlando yesterday, everyone is still trying to put the pieces together, and support for Orlando continues to grow.
We bring you team coverage today as authorities are trying to figure out what happened early Sunday morning. Dozens of vigils were held last night across the U.S., a show of support and a way to mourn the lives lost in the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history.
Here's what we now know. The mass shooting took place early Sunday morning in Orlando, Florida at the gay nightclub Pulse. Right now, the number of deaths remains at 50, including the suspected gunman and over 50 people injured as a result of the shooting. The suspected gunman is being identified by police as 29-year-old Omar Mateen. The FBI says he's been on their radar since 2013.
According to ABC 15, one of the victims attended high school here in the Valley.
Jason Benjamin Josephat is listed on the City of Orlando's website along with the others killed during the Pulse shooting.
Josephat was 19 years old. The station report he graduated from Skyline High School in Mesa in 2014.
According to his Facebook page, Josephat was a student at Southern Technical College in Orlando. He's the youngest victim authorities have identified. Friends are reportedly holding a candlelight vigil for Josephat on Wednesday night.
That will take place at 8 p.m. at Skyline Park. The family has also created a GoFundMe page to raise money for the funeral. With attacks like these, the big question is always, how do we prevent this and what do we do here at home?
Terrorism and war experts here in the Valley state that they will work on a daily basis to study the history of these attacks.
I spoke with Daniel Rothenberg, terrorism expert and co-director of the Center on the Future of War at ASU, who has worked in this realm for 2 decades. He tells us there's a common thread running through most of the domestic attacks in the U.S. since 9/11. They have been lone wolf attacks, a single terrorist. He says these are the hardest attacks to prevent.
They don't necessarily reveal the kinds of signals that might indicate that they are outliers in society and particularly dangerous. They're often, relatively well educated.
Rothenberg believes Omar Mateen did not choose the site of his attack at random, and it's obvious he was attacking the LGBT community.
Experts are questioning why police held off for several hours before storming the nightclub. When the shooting began yesterday, an off-duty police officer at the nightclub exchanged gunfire with the suspect. But 3 hours passed before the SWAT team stormed the building to end the attack.
Law enforcement leaders say other mass shootings suggest police confront an attacker rather than wait to assess the situation. But it's not yet known what information Orlando authorities had or how decisions were made.
Here in Phoenix, people are thinking about security at businesses that cater to the LGBT community. Crandall Brantley spoke to a number of businesses, and he joins us now live in the newsroom.
Christina, this weekend's tragedy in Florida has a lot of businesses on edge, and some I spoke with say they are working with police to ensure they don't have to work in fear. Hundreds of miles away, but the manager of Offshoot 2, an LGBT clothing store in downtown Phoenix, is thinking about security.
And was reassured by Phoenix Police Department that they were going to do everything in their power to address the concerns and some of the fears that we might have, both as business and as residents.
Kelly feels confident about safety, but at another business that serves the LGBT community, they've always taken precautions.
When a tragedy like this happens, it's devastating and quite overwhelming. But unfortunately, something that I think in the back of my mind that I've always maybe known was going to happen at some point.
Jeffrey Perales, manager of Cobalt Bar in Central Phoenix, says the tragedy last night is a wake-up call that there is still a lot of discrimination against the LGBT community.
Because we are still living under the shadow of being discriminated against and being second-class citizens in this society, despite all of the political advances we've had in the past few years. There's still a long way to go before we get to the point of full equality.
One manager I spoke with said that something that helped ease his mind was a discussion with a Muslim outreach officer at the Phoenix Police Department in the broadcast center. Crandall Brantley, Cronkite News.
Arizonans are coming together to help victims of the shooting in Orlando.
United Blood Services in Arizona is a part of the network that sent blood to help replenish supplies at hospitals in Florida. Cronkite News reporter Jackie Balbuena went to a blood center in Chandler.
At the United Blood Services location I went to, there were people of all ages lined up wanting to donate. In fact, people had to be turned away. This was one of the 4 United Blood Services locations open on Monday, and it was a busy morning. Starting at 10 a.m., people were checking in and giving blood. A United Blood Services spokesperson said the shortage went from 42% critical to just 26% critical. People were turned away because they had not set up appointments, and the center was at full capacity. Still, at this bank, I saw plenty of new donors that just want to help out.
It's my first time donating. I've thought about doing it for many years, and so this brought me in today, and my friend Renee is supposed to meet me here today to donate too, and it's her first time.
Most blood donations have a shelf life of 5 days, so there is time to help, but people who want to give blood should make an appointment by going online. Jackie Balbuena, Cronkite News.
The president and others in Congress are speaking out on how our nation needs to respond to gun violence.
Coming up on Cronkite News.
Although it's still early in the investigation, we know enough to say that this was an act of terror and an act of hate.
The president meets with other leaders to address the tragedy in Orlando.
Just days after a call for change was made, Gabby Giffords and Mark Kelly shared their reactions to the Orlando mass shooting.
It's summertime on PBS. What's coming up? You'll never guess. We'll meet some famous presidents and tour their famous residents. We're going to shake the family tree to search our genealogy. Detective teams are out in force. Inspector Lewis and Dever Morse. We'll leap into the clear blue sky to see how nature's creatures fly. And fireworks? The answer's yes. It's summertime on PBS.
Introducing Classical Arizona PBS, your classical music connection. On TV, listen to Classical Arizona PBS on digital channel 8.4. On the go, download the free Classical Arizona PBS app to stream performances. Find out about classical concerts and watch exclusive videos. Download the free Classical Arizona PBS app, then follow Classical Arizona PBS on Facebook and Twitter for news, photos, and events near you. Classical Arizona PBS, your classical music connection. Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule, where it's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Access interactive digital and printable program guides, repeat times, and full episode descriptions. Watch program previews of best bets for the coming week. Search by title to find your favorite shows. You can even add programs to your calendar and get email reminders when they're about to start. It's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule.
Hi, I'm Charlie Rose. As part of the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at ASU, Arizona PBS is providing a state-of-the-art venue for the next generation of journalists. From newsrooms in Washington, Los Angeles, and here in Phoenix, students engage in real-time, real-world news reporting, broadcast production, and online innovation. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS working together in new ways to bridge the classroom to the community in the digital age.
You're a dreamer, don't hide it from anyone, don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life, this is what counts, this is
Reaction to the Orlando attacks came from across the country. In Arizona, former Representative Gabby Giffords and her husband, Mark Kelly, released a statement to those who claim nothing can be done to make the country safer from gun violence, saying, quote, "It's not true. It was a sad and dark day for this country we all love." On Sunday, Orlando's shooting came just days after Giffords and Kelly went to D.C. demanding stricter gun laws, some specifically to stop gun suicide of veterans.
Specifically, it would be great to have federal legislation with regards to background checks to close those loopholes in our gun laws that let dangerous people get guns. We tried to do that in 2013, failed by about 4 votes. That bill, something like that, will come up again.
Giffords was the target of a 2011 shooting in Tucson that left 6 dead and 12 others wounded.
Among responses from many around the country were those from Arizona congressmen and women. Cronkite News reporter Veronica Acosta in our Washington, D.C. bureau gathered reaction to the massacre.
Reactions were swift and nearly unanimous this weekend, just hours after the Orlando massacre, now the largest mass shooting in U.S. history.
Today, as Americans, we grieve the brutal murder, a horrific massacre of dozens of innocent people.
Arizona representatives took to social media to express their thoughts and condolences to the families affected by the massacre. Some even sent out specific statements. Congressman Raul Grijalva tweeted using the hashtag Orlando shooting and insisted that weapons of war need to be taken off of our streets. Arizona Representatives Ann Kirkpatrick, Martha McSally, and Matt Salmon each issued separate press releases where they expressed their grief and sent out their condolences. Senator John McCain also sent out his prayers and insisted on rooting out terror. The nation was addressed by President Obama, who said this event is being treated as a terrorist investigation.
Attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us.
Reporting from the Capitol in Washington, D.C., I'm Veronica Acosta, Cronkite News.
The president also calling the attack an act of terror and an act of hate. He reminded Americans that this could have happened to any community.
So this is a sobering reminder that attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us.
Today, President Obama met with leaders in the Oval Office to discuss gun control. He said the country must counter extremism and not make it easy for someone who wants to cause harm to obtain weapons. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is going after President Obama and Hillary Clinton because he says they refused to use the words radical Islamic terrorism.
The Obama administration, with the support of Hillary Clinton and others, has also damaged our security by restraining our intelligence gathering, and we have just no intelligence gathering information. We need this information so badly, and he stopped it.
Also, Hillary Clinton responds to Trump's criticism on not using radical Islamic terrorism. Clinton says she has no problem using the words, but says it's dangerous to demonize and declare war on an entire religion.
This is a moment when all Americans need to stand together. No matter how many times we endure attacks like this, the horror never fades. The murder of innocent people breaks our hearts, tears at our sense of security, and makes us furious.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio seemed to open the door to running for re-election today, but said he didn't want to tie any of this political decision to the shooting. Rubio also addressed the FBI interview with the Orlando shooter 3 times before the shooting yesterday.
Here's the problem we have. Saying that you support the Islamic State, even saying crazy things about Islam and killing people, that in and of itself is not an arrestable offense. You can look into the people, you can investigate them, but only when they act can you actually move on them, and that's what makes this so difficult.
FBI Director James Comey explained how they first became aware of the shooter back in 2013. They conducted a preliminary investigation after the man said he was a member of a terrorist organization. That lasted 10 months. Again in 2014, the killer was interviewed, but no ties to other terrorist acts were discovered. Says the FBI is going to review their work to see if something could have been done differently. He added they will be honest and transparent about what they find. In support of Orlando, people here in the Valley are coming together.
Coming up on Cronkite News.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all of God's children are created in the image of God.
Religious groups and other residents come together to share their support at a vigil held here in Phoenix.
Plus, during the month of Ramadan, Muslims everywhere are celebrating and now are sharing their reaction to the tragedy.
We are here tonight to explore tough issues.
You've got to have people around you who aren't just laying rose petals in front of your way. And I kid you not, this is true.
Trust is everything.
This has been so much fun.
It's about reaching people.
There are more players on the world stage. The issues are more complex.
We ask the questions that take us closer to the truth.
What happened and what might happen.
Because that's what we do.
Would you like doing something like I do?
I couldn't do this. I'm not qualified.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
When I was 12 years old, I was watching great performances on PBS. This program with Nureyev came on. Nureyev in a performance of Le Corsaire, and I was amazed and awestruck. I really wanted to do it. I was street dancing at the time, and I never thought of formal dance until I saw great performances. I knew that I was really a novice to dance, like high dance. I decided to check out the High School Performing Arts, and so one thing led to the next. Today, as a recognized dancer, I absolutely believe that when I saw the performance, it affected me tremendously. And I know that's what happens when I teach. I'm opening an option for them that they hadn't seen before.
Around 1,000 people gathered together at the LGBT Pride Center in Phoenix last night in response to the shooting in Orlando. Cronkite News reporter Eddie Keller takes us inside this moment of solidarity.
The tragedy in Orlando has rocked the entire nation and has even hit home for many here in Phoenix. The city, in cooperation with religious leaders, held a vigil that sought to unify the community.
Phoenix loves Orlando. That was the message proclaimed loud and clear at the vigil in downtown Phoenix.
We will not be afraid. We come tonight to declare that you are my brother, you are my sister, you are somebody.
Catholics, Jews, Protestants, Muslims, and more stood side by side in solidarity after the tragic shooting in Orlando.
Truth to be self-evident that all of God's children are created in the image of God.
It was beautiful. While they're up there speaking, it's like you could just feel the power and the love that they have for everyone. It's just amazing. It really is.
Reverend James Pennington of Phoenix First Congregational United Church of Christ was proud to see a unified community.
We gathered faith leaders together, especially we felt it was important to have the Muslim community present because this was I think one more incident of potentially Islamophobia.
But this was just the beginning. He says that the solidarity needs to continue.
When there are opportunities in the community, and even when there aren't opportunities, that we gather so that we don't wait until kind of tragedies like Orlando, that we actually take opportunities to be together, to gather together, and to build momentum and power and strength and solidarity.
While they don't have any specific plans to build on this moment of unity, he says people of different faiths have at least opened a dialogue so they can find more common ground.
Reverend Pennington says that he and his colleagues at the Arizona Faith Network will be striving to keep that dialogue moving forward and bring even more unity to the city of Phoenix. Live at the digital desk, Eddie Keller, Cronkite News.
The Orlando shooting happened during one of the most holy months in Islam. Phoenix area Muslims are condemning the tragedy and reject any violence committed in the name of their religion. The Islamic Community Center of Phoenix opened its doors and invited me to learn about its teachings. Muslims around the world have begun to observe one of their most holy times through prayer and fast.
The holy month of Ramadan happens once a year. It's the month in which the Holy Quran was first revealed.
The month emphasizes closeness to God, sacrifice, and giving back to the community, all of which are a part of the 5 pillars of Islam.
If somebody have bad habits, the point is to shed those habits during the month of Ramadan to be a start, a new beginning for you for the rest of the year.
Phoenix Muslims say no drinks or food from sunrise to sunset is hard at first, but it gets easier.
You can definitely sense the blessing of the month. Knowing that billions of people are fasting alongside with you is what's makes it so much easier.
Muslims say fasting gives them time to reflect on their actions and nourish their souls.
The fast teaches you how to be patient. So you're not supposed to engage in dispute, or you shouldn't be engaged in argument.
Every Muslim I spoke to condemned the shooting in Orlando. They said it was against the teachings of Islam and the spirit of Ramadan.
In the Quran, it explicitly says is if you kill one person, it's as if you killed the entire mankind. And so the fact that this happened in the midst of such a holy month should tell you something about that individual.
Shami says the Islamic Center of Phoenix has an open door policy, and he invites the public to learn about a religion he says is largely misconstrued.
Come and look people in the eye and talk to them, and you will see that they're human beings like you.
Sharuru hopes people learn about the core of her religion.
It really does mean peace, and it brings peace to me, and I hope that one day it'll bring some peace to the community as well.
The Islamic month of Ramadan began last week and continues through July 5th.
From New York City to our own Chase Field, all of us pause to reflect the tragedy in Florida.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how the Diamondbacks paid tribute to the 49 lives lost.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
This is the real thing. This is where we were born.
One of the amazing things about the history of life on Earth is it keeps learning new tricks.
The animals, plants, really gets in your blood.
Everything's interconnected.
We've got to begin to tell a new story, a story about interaction.
It's something that really touches my heart. There's just massive life everywhere. It's just magic.
A place all too familiar with tragedy lit up the sky with support last night. The colors of the pride flag were displayed on the One World Trade Center to honor the victims of the nightclub shooting in Orlando. New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo ordered the lights of One World Trade to reflect the rainbow flag. At over 400 feet tall, the spire showed his state's solidarity with the LGBT community. Governor Andrew Cuomo released a statement announcing the display, saying New York joins the rest of the nation in rejecting this hate, fear, and extremism.
And here at home, the Arizona Diamondbacks remembered the victims at last night's game with a moment of silence.
And for their families and friends who are suffering right now, the Miami Marlins and Arizona Diamondbacks ask that you join us in a moment of silence.
The Diamondbacks also set out a tweet saying, "Our thoughts are with you, Orlando." The Diamondbacks are at home again tonight facing the Los Angeles Dodgers. That game starts in about an hour. Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Tonight on Arizona Horizon, Ted Simons will have an additional perspective from our state on the attack of Orlando. That and more from both Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, an update on the state's wildfire season, including the latest on the Tenderfoot fire near Yarnell, and a new report looks at the issues faced by homeless youth in Arizona.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour, the latest twists and turns from the presidential campaign trail with our Politics Monday team of Amy Walter and Tamara Keith. That's here on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.